My job at this stage, at the end of it, is to make time go backwards, and that's an innovation that I can't quite achieve, but I'll be very brief. Last year, we were talking about value added and innovation, and I showed this product, which is a high-pressure turbine blade, which is an extraordinary component. It operates at about 400 degrees above its melting point, and it generates the same power as a Formula One motor car. So this small component is extraordinarily capable. And it's the product of relationships with multiple universities, 30 or 40 large and small companies, and is an example of systems integration and the sort of systems integration that Jim talked about that was necessary to bring to the market complex products. But the real point I wanted to make today was that product innovation is a necessary but not sufficient condition for success, and all innovation isn't good innovation. And it's a salutary lesson that can be learned from the aircraft industry in the UK. I'm sitting beside Boeing, now one of the great aircraft companies in the world, but in 1945 the UK was the leader in jet aircraft transport. In 1952, the year I was born, at Farnborough, the air show that occurs in the UK, there were 38 British aircraft, and some of them were supersonic. 3 or 4 of them were supersonic. Britain was responsible for the first jet passenger aircraft, the Comet. So in 1952, dominant player. By the 60s, it was an industry in terminal decline. And I think that's really an issue of a demonstration of why all innovation isn't good innovation. We were an extraordinarily innovative nation. There were multiple companies producing this range of aircraft. But I think in order for the probability of success of innovation to be increased, there are other areas in which you have to be continually innovative. And I think one of those is in the way that you interact with your customer and your intimacy with the customer. Because if you're going to deliver a world-class solution, you need to be able to understand what the needs of your customer in your particular area are and how you're going to satisfy them well and how they're going to evolve. And the needs of today aren't the needs of tomorrow. To go back to the UK aircraft industry, Britain was making aircraft for a market that wasn't going to exist. It was making product for the old empire routes, and they simply weren't going to exist. The world was evolving away from the solutions that they were providing. The second area of innovation, which I think you need to concentrate on, is your business model. And that has to, again, react to the needs of your customer. Over time, we at Rolls-Royce have evolved our model from selling product and simply providing service in terms of spare parts and so on, to a relationship that's intimate with the customer, where we are taking on more and more of the risk of managing the product in service. So we allow the customer to focus on the things that they do well, and we focus on those activities where our asset base, our technology, our capabilities, our systems are capable of providing them with something that they cannot provide at the same level themselves. So we've moved from what we call a time and materials world to a total care world, and that in itself has driven innovations, because in order to be effective in providing that sort of support, we've needed to acquire more and more data. So we've innovated in the area of real-time data collection and turning that data into information which is useful in providing the sort of service that the customers need in order for them to be able to provide the sort of service their customers require. And I think the third area where one needs to concentrate is in a constant re-evaluation of the structure of your business. The world has been rapidly globalizing over the last 20 years or so, really driven by the events of 1989 and the subsequent entry of places like India and China into the global network of business in a formal way. And to a certain extent, I think we've all, because of the pace, sleptwalked into globalization and not done enough to restructure the way we think about business, we think about the areas in which we're going to operate, we think about risk, we think about opportunity. And that requires a different sort of organizational construct from the ones that pre-existed. So we at Rolls-Royce are spending a lot of time thinking about how do you organize yourself for a truly globalized world, as opposed to a world where it's simply a collection of markets. And they're very different things. So my point really is product innovation is not a sufficient condition. There are other areas of innovation that is very important for us to focus on. Thank you.